With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
You've discovered your link to GoPowercat.com's Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast. Here are your hosts, former K-State tight end Travis Tannahill and former Wildcat safety Monte Spiller.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Tannahill and Spiller Podcast. I am Travis Tannahill, got Monte Spiller on the line here. Monte, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Trav. How are you?
Oh, can't complain. Talking off air. Just down a little pizza for lunch, getting ready for the second half of my day, trying to finish out the week strong. So that's about it. How's your week going? All good?
Good. Yeah, been preparing for a game coming up this week against Jeff West. We got a big win. My high school team did last week against a really good, tough Sabetha team, but we came out with a 35-20 victory. So we're happy about that and moving forward.
Nice. Sounds good. How'd your boy play? Good?
He did, actually. Got an interception, big interception, got a touchdown and several other receptions and a bunch of tackles and some PBUs as well. So he played really good. He grew up, he's a sophomore and played quite a bit last year as a freshman, but I think he really matured this game because they had some really good players and he stepped up and I was really proud of him. So he did well.
Awesome. That's got to be a lot of fun. I mean, I know a lot of guys coach their kids' little league ball and whatnot, which is a lot of fun, but, it's still like 10-year-olds. So you can't take it too seriously. But high school football, it's, that's serious. It's trying to win no matter what. So that's probably got a lot of fun to get out there and compete alongside your boy.
Exactly.
All right. Diving into Kansas State versus Texas Tech. Where'd you watch it at? Were you at the house?
Yeah, I watched it at the house. I was watching film for our next opponent and watching the game, so double duty. You know how that goes. A little bit of pleasure, a little bit of fun, and then, business as well. But I was really happy with the outcome, obviously. I kind of chuckled watching the game early in the game. I remember last week we were talking on the podcast, and I towards the end I said, one thing I think that gives us an advantage, we always have a big special teams play against Texas Tech, no matter what year. It could be the kicking game, it can be return, it can be punt block. We always have a big play, and sure enough, when we blocked the punt, I kind of laughed and I chuckled, internally and say, hey, there it is. There's that big special teams play that we always get every year against Tech. So that made me feel pretty good about my football knowledge to a certain extent.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's 3 weeks in a row, 3 blocked punts on the opening punt. I mean, I don't know. I know the statistic for 3 blocked punts in a row. 3 weeks in a row can't be a long list. I can only imagine there's a handful of teams that have ever done that. A couple, maybe 2 or 3, and now Kansas State's on that list. But the opening punt, I mean, I got to imagine no one's ever done that. Opening punt 3 weeks in a row. Just the odds of that happening are very slim. So hats off to Stan Weber there. I know he takes a lot of pride in that special teams. I think he's I don't know what technically his title is, but I think he's handling a lot of the special teams, and he gets super excited and ready to go for the special teams unit. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, overall, I thought it was an exciting game. I was planning on watching it at my house. I got a call about 7 in the morning on Saturday. The pregame work I do for K-State. They had Reggie Walker, the original Reggie Walker from 15 years ago.
Right.
Was supposed to be helping out doing some pregame stuff. He had to call in sick early Saturday morning. So I got a phone call early Saturday morning and said, hey, we need you on air in about 5 hours. Can you be here? So that answer was yes. Send me the script as quickly as possible so I can, pull some stats out and pull some highlights out and make sure we could put out a pretty good show. So it actually turned out pretty well. So I was happy with that. So with that being said, I got to watch the game, at the stadium, which is still a little weird, still a little I don't know, just awkward. There's fans, but there's not very many, and you're not allowed to like high five with your neighbors, and everyone's got masks on. But hey, still, it's 1,000 times better than no fans. So, real quick, we'll just touch on a couple guys here, and then we'll kind of transition over to TCU. But the limited action Skyler got, obviously getting knocked out. It sounds like we know a little bit. We know there's nothing broken, so that means not a 12-week recovery from a surgery or anything on Skyler's shoulder. Nothing broken, but serious enough where he obviously was in a sling the rest of the game. What did you think of Skyler's play while he was in there? Kind of thoughts on the injury and thoughts moving forward on how you kind of think he'll do moving forward with a banged up shoulder.
I think honestly I was happy with this play, especially coming off a big win. Like they did, a lot of times when you come off a big win, and the following week is somewhat of a letdown. I think his maturity showed, not allowing that win to kind of overshadow, moving on to a quality team with Texas Tech that the week before probably should have won that game against Texas. But he showed a lot of maturity. I think moving forward, it's a learning experience for him. Like you and I both, in all Wildcat land, we hope that it doesn't limit him this weekend coming up. We'll find out sooner than later if he's going to play or not. But I think he did a good job of kind of maintaining the offense as much as possible. A different style defense they normally face, but I think he did a good job, So I was happy with it, and the most important thing, we got the win, And thank goodness it's not anything significant where it's going to require surgery or him being out a significant amount of time, to our knowledge right now, moving forward. But I was happy with his play. I was definitely happy with his play.
Yeah, no, so was I, and I actually I'd kind of forgotten about. Do you remember that it was a goal line pass to Bradley Moore over the middle? And I just saw it just popped across my Twitter the other day. Someone, I don't remember who, retweeted it and just retweeted that clip.
Right.
And I was like, man, I'd kind of forgotten about that. Like, that was an exceptional throw. I mean, he fit that in a tight a window as you can imagine, and an exceptional reception by Bradley Moore as well. So both those guys playing off the charge. Obviously, Skyler getting knocked out. Will Howard, 7 for 12. 173 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Obviously, we lowered that bar a little bit with being a true freshman. My expectations of what Skyler can do versus what Will can and should do are definitely different, rightfully so. That's probably the only fair way to say that. But overall, what did you think of Will's play? And just, if Skyler is out for this TCU game, which I don't – and make sure the listeners understand, I got no – idea. I've got no intel. I don't think Skyler's going to play. The way the schedules line up, I think we got TCU, and then I believe we have a bye week, and then KU, I think it's that, or maybe it's KU, then bye week, something like that. So we could really get him 3 to 4 weeks of rest here by missing one game. Not that we're not going to have to show up for KU, but we should. I think the way we've played, I think we can win that game with Will Howard. So what's your thoughts on Will Howard moving forward? And assuming Skyler doesn't play this week against Texas Tech, what do you foresee him showing up here on this Saturday?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me tell you, not as a football guy, but just as a bystander, if I were to be one, he definitely passed the eye test. The guy, he's a good-looking kid. A true freshman. He has a good size. He appears to have a good arm strength as well, the few throws that he did have. But if the coaching staff felt comfortable enough to put him in as a true freshman in a game situation that, it could have went either way. It was a close game. And it's one of the things they chose to go with him rather than another quarterback. Speaks volumes about what they've seen from him, apparently in practice and in pressure situations, I'm guessing in scrimmages as well. But the kid seems like he has confidence. When he did make his play, he didn't get rattled. He didn't show emotion to the point where he was high and low. He seemed to be even keeled. And I think give him a week to prepare for a team, because I guarantee he didn't expect to go into the game against Tech. I know they say prepare like, you want to play away, and a lot of guys do, but you can only prepare so much mentally, knowing that you're a backup to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But I think this week he probably has taken, if not all the reps, a majority of the reps with the first team. I think he'll be prepared, and going to an away game He's not in front of friends and family per se. A lot less pressure on him. And I think, TCU is a good team. Obviously, they just came off a big win. But my thing is, it's not a game that people say, hey, you got to win the game for us. He has a lot of pieces around him that he can, support him. And I think if all else fails, go to Deuce, and obviously he did. So it's one of those things where I think he'd be comfortable and he has the support of the team, the coaches. And it should be interesting to see what happens if he does indeed play or start for that matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you just said. Thankfully, I felt like that coaching staff didn't quite, open the playbook very much with him, but they really, they didn't really have to. I mean, they had to lead the whole entire game, and then they got down there late, and he made a play, and they opened it up as much as they had to. You're trying to protect the kid a little bit, and I got a little bit of a relationship with his dad, and I just shot his dad an email on Monday and just said, hey. Was super impressed with how Will played. And I wasn't necessarily talking about winning or his throws, more just how he handled himself as a young freshman kid, orchestrated the offense, and looked like he knew what he was doing and belonged out there. So I'm sure. His whole family and friends are all excited that, one, you hate to get in over an injury, but at the end of the day, this is football, and you got to be ready. And I just want to make sure the listeners understand when you're a backup quarterback, and every school does it slightly different. So I never played for Coach Kleiman, so I don't know exactly how they do it. But when we went through with Bill Snyder, the starting quarterback got about 8 reps, and then the backup, the number 2s, got about 4 reps. So So really, the starters were getting twice as many reps as the 2s, and you see it in the NFL happen. And from what I understand at the NFL level, the starters get all the reps, and the number 2s, they don't get reps. So it's 100% going to the starters. The number 2s get 0, and you better be ready if your number's called, which is really, really hard to do. So props to Will, obviously getting limited reps in practice. And in the past, like this week, he's probably getting quite a bit more to make sure he's getting that full playbook ready to go for Texas Tech. For TCU. But other than that, anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah,
on the Texas Tech game,
well,
defensive wise, hit on defense a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one individual player. A lot of guys stood out, but T.J. Smith, the kid, I want to say from Georgia, number 7, and hadn't heard a lot from him prior to the game, but that kid, he was making some plays, and I saw on social media people were comparing him to Mario Smith about some of his hits, and I played with Mario, so I'm not going to put him on that level yet. But the kid made some pretty significant plays, and when he got to the point of contact, he got there with bad intentions, and I was like, okay, I like this kid, man, and he was fun to watch. So he's a kid that I would definitely encourage people, in future games moving forward, to keep an eye on him and see how he pans out and see how he matures and develops, because I was really impressed with his play and his nose for the ball, and he was not afraid to pull the trigger and go unload on some guys. So that was fun to watch.
Yeah, and really that defense has continued to impress me. After coming off Arkansas State, I was like, not on suicide watch, but I was super depressed. I was like, our defense is horrible. I was like, there's no way Kansas State can win a single Big 12 game. I was like, if our defense plays like that. And it's one thing to see a defense from week 1 to week 12 improve, but it was like, or week 10 or however many we get in this year. But this team, from week 1 to week 2 got twice as good. From week 2 to week 3 got another 20% good. So it's, this defense has been amazing to watch for how quickly they've been able to improve. And one, that I know that first week they had quite a few guys out due to COVID. They're getting guys healthy. So that helps, throwing in healthy, able bodies. But, I'm just going to kind of read down the list here of, I don't know, I'm everyone who made a tackle last week, and I'm going to read the guys off that I would consider I don't know, not first team all conference, but honorable mention all conference, in the top 2, 3, 4 of their position in the conference. Elijah Sullivan's a stud. Jerron McPherson's been a heck of a stud the last couple games. Justin Hughes knows what he's doing. Khalid Duke's been an amazing freshman. A.J. Parker's solid. He hasn't maybe shown up as much, but I know he's out there doing the right thing. We just mentioned T.J. Smith. He's out there hitting some guys. And then, obviously, the Wyatt Hubert. So, I mean, that was what, 5, 6, half our defense is guys that would start on any other team. I think that's be a top 2 or 3 in the conference. So I think that goes to show a lot about how good this defense has become, the depth they have, and really just getting better and improving, which is what Coach Kleiman preaches every single day. So I'm excited to see where this defense continues to go the rest of the year. And I like that they're hitting a little bit, which is I feel like that happened in that OU game, that second half of the OU game. They kind of flipped a switch, and it's like, let's play a little looser. And, we might miss a tackle here, blow a coverage there, but we're at least going to hit people. They're going to know when they come over the middle. So just be careful. We don't need guys ejected. So we're which, realistically is probably going to come because we were – not saying Kansas State was headhunting, but they were playing aggressive enough where helmets are going to collide, whether it's on purpose. I don't think it's on purpose, but just the nature of it. So if you're a physical safety coming down, eventually you're going to slip up and you're going to have a helmet-to-helmet contact and get ejected. So hopefully we can avoid those, or at least not have them at any untimely ways.
Right. No, definitely, I agree, and I'm excited moving forward. The good thing about it is it doesn't sound as crazy as it sounds. We're on a winning streak, Yes, 2 games, and it's conference games, which makes a big difference. We're undefeated in the conference, and we're on a winning streak, and then when you go into a game like TCU, let's transition over to that a little bit, on the road, if you would have asked most people by now prior to the first game, they figured we would have probably had the same record that we have, but the one loss would have been to Oklahoma, not Arkansas State. But with that being said, we have a legitimate chance to make some moves in conference-wise and to kind of distance ourselves, because right now I think it's us, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. And I think we have opportunity to distance ourselves. And we, for whatever reason, we play well down in Fort Worth, and it's a battle of the purples, as people say. But with TCU, they don't pose as big of a passing threat more so than they do a running threat, because their quarterback, Duggan, he's not a bad passer, don't get me wrong, but he's quick to pull the ball down and run. And I think that actually plays in our favor because our linebackers can run with any quarterback in our conference and make plays, so that allows our defensive backs also to not be as worried about, playing man coverage or empty for that matter, or zero for that matter. But I think that puts us in a situation defensive-wise where we have slight advantage against them because, he can run the ball, but our backers are able to run with him, and we don't have to worry about bringing in a defensive back to run with him or take away from the run game and do an okay job against the pass game as well. So I think from that aspect, we have the advantage. On the flip side, they have a defense that can run too. Anytime you hear Gary Patterson's name, you have to associate quality defense with him because that's what he's built TCU off of. He normally has athletes on the defense side of the ball that can run with anybody. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then you got a lot of the kids on the roster from K-State that are Texas kids that when you go home, you want to show out in front of friends and family and do your best. So I'll be interested to see how that goes for us come Saturday.
Yeah, no, you all good points you hit on. And yeah, Max Dugan, I mean, like you mentioned, he's not going to throw the ball all over the place for 400 yards per game, but, man, is he efficient, hitting 74% of his passes so far this year. And then against Texas, ran for 90 yards against Texas. So, yeah, he's got the legs, he's got the athleticism.
The Powercat Podcast will be right back.
Picture this nightmare scenario. You're hosting friends for the big game. It's neck and neck in the fourth quarter, and suddenly you realize you're out of drinks. You start to sweat. Your friends start to turn on you. You're forced to go on a last-second drink run and end up missing the game-winning touchdown while in line. Terrifying, isn't it? Luckily, you can avoid the drama with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. With Drizzly, you can shop a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits, then get them delivered right to your watch party. Compare prices across multiple stores in your area, find the best deals on game day drinks, and get back to armchair quarterbacking from, you guessed it, your armchair. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Imagine the softest sheets you've ever felt. Now imagine them getting even softer over time. I'm here to tell you about Boll & Branch sheets. In a recent customer survey, 96% replied that Boll & Branch sheets get softer with every wash. They're made from the rarest organic cotton and designed to get even softer over time. Try their sheets with a 30-night guarantee plus 15% off your first order with code Odyssey. So head to BOLLandbranch.com today. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
We now send it back to the Powercat Podcast.
Obviously, TCU wasn't in the conference when you were playing, but did you never crossed paths with TCU for any odd reason, did you?
No, we never did. I had a couple of buddies that I played with in high school and against in high school that went to TCU for either football or track, but as far as me being a player, we never played TCU. That was prior to them joining the Big 12. So, no, I never had the opportunity to play them.
Man, yeah, I loved that stadium. I loved playing in that stadium. I love, obviously, Dallas-Fort Worth area is a great area. So if you're a fan and you haven't made it down to TCU to watch a game, obviously this year probably a little late, and this year probably not the most fun time to go travel with 20% full stadiums. So put it on the list for next year or 2 years, 4 years down the road. Get down to TCU. That's a beautiful stadium. I feel like K-State's kind of modeled their renovations after TCU.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a bunch of limestone, bunch of suites. So, it's a smaller stadium. I think it only holds maybe 40 or 45,000. But, it's a beautiful campus, beautiful stadium, beautiful place to go down and visit and watch a competitive football game. But, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't know. This one's hard for me. This one's going to be hard to see what I'm just going to look up the line here real quick because I don't know it. But, I mean, if Skylar plays, I think, it's coin flip.
Yeah.
If Will has to play, I think maybe we're a little bit of an underdog. So I think it's still going to come to whether Skylar's healthy or not. But I don't know. I mean, the way Will played, I mean, he can win. He's good enough, and he kind of had handcuffs on a little bit from the play calling. So this coaching staff obviously can't protect him for 4 quarters. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly, how much, or how they protect him, how they open things up for him. And I think you're going to see a ton of Deuce Vaughn. You're going to see a ton of Harry Trotter. I think the running game is going to be very, very important. If Kansas State, with Will Howard up there at quarterback, has to play the majority of the snaps. So I think K-State's going to have to dominate the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball if they want a chance to win. Where is this line? Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to find this. TCU by 9. There we go.
Wow. By 9, huh? Wow.
Yeah, by 9. So I Google searched it, and it was like the 18th little link to pop up. TCU by 9, which I don't know. I think I'm assuming that's probably most people are probably assuming Skylar's not playing. So
exactly.
That's why that's minus 9. Yeah, and if Skylar was in there, that'd probably be -3, and home field advantage going to TCU, which gives them the 3-point favorite. So, I think it's going to be a good ball game. I think Will's probably better than most people think. Most people think, backup quarterback, never heard of him. He's probably garbage. But it's like, no, this is Kansas State's future, leader, future quarterback. He's just young, so he's got all the physical talent in the world. They just got to Coach Klein there and. Coach Kleiman, he got to find a way to get him coached up, get him ready, and get him ready to play. But anything else on TCU?
No, man. It's one of those things, and I'll let you end with this. It's one of those things, and it's almost comical. Even when K-State has what some people consider a down year, below 500 or above 500, whatever it may be, you think the national media or people outside of the Big 12 would finally realize, okay, there's a pride about K-State that no matter who they have at quarterback, no matter how many 3-stars they have compared to your 4 and 5 stars, they find a way. And you think people will finally say, you know what, we probably should stop doubting this program, the culture, the community, the university, the history of the football and sports in general, K-State athletics, as much as they do, because what they have is number 9 preseason, number 8 finishing 8 out the league.
Yeah. It probably depends on the where it came from, but 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, but we weren't in the top 5 by any means, and it's one of those things where we had a starting quarterback that returned that was pretty darn good. Some good backs, O-line had to be replaced. I get that part of it. Some players on defense, special teams that's good year in and year out. But it's one of those things where I just feel like, which is players in our favor, the lack of respect. I'm okay with that, and I hope our players are listening and understand as well. And I know Coach gets them ready, and they play for each other. They don't play for anybody else. They play for each other and family members, of course. But I think it's to the point where they have something to prove once again. Nobody gave them a chance against Oklahoma. People doubted them against Tech because Tech should have beat Texas in overtime. And then this week, I think because TCU did beat Texas, and they're playing at home, they're a 9-point favorite, like you said. But I just believe that our kids want it more than other programs at this point in the Big 12, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us come out and just take it to them.
Yep. No, I feel pretty good about this one. I mean, I don't know if whether K-State comes out and wins or not. Obviously we have no idea, but I think K-State competes. I think K-State finds a way to have it be close at the end of the ball game. Obviously, Kansas State, our turnover margin right now is, I think we're top 3 in the country at the moment. So, turnovers can always help you. Running the ball, which I have been critical. I've been super critical of the offensive line so far, which I need to give them credit. Last week against Texas Tech, they played much better. So, looks like the offensive line is improving, getting things on the right track. And then I'd also had a little criticism for Wyatt Hubert. Just not showing up. I mean, I know he's getting double teamed, but it doesn't matter. If you're going to be an all-conference player or a borderline all-American player, you get double teamed, you still got to, get your tackles. And he was showing up with 0 tackles, 0 sacks, and so. But last week he showed up, did a lot of good things last week. Which last thing we'll touch on, and then we'll wrap this up. Coach Klieman's new contract. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it, because you and I both know in collegiate athletics, man, whoever's hot. And you get some schools that got deep pockets, they can come out and get basically who they want. And, some people say, it's not all about money. And I'm not saying Coach Klieman would be that guy, but I don't even want him even in talks. Lock him up, keep him. And I think I truly believe he wants to be here. I think he loves Manhattan. I think he loves the culture that he's building and that Coach Snyder has built. And I think he wants to be here, obviously, for a long time with signing that contract. So I'm glad that they got him locked up. The kids are bought in. I think his assistant coaches enjoy coaching with him and coaching for him. So I'm all for it, and I'm glad they did it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing that gives me a little hesitation is just the whole timing thing. With all the COVID and revenue's way down. Obviously the athletic department and Kansas State University, they're 2 separate bank accounts, they're 2 separate entities. So right. There's no money going from the academic side to the athletic side. So. But just the perception of, oh my goodness, Kansas State just furloughed and laid off however many professors, but hey, we found a bunch of money to give to our coach. That's my only negative. Right. It is just the timing. Could this have been done, maybe next off season when this is all kind of out of our memory and it's looking like we're going to have a full 2021 season. But
I get that.
I'm not the AD, so I'm not the one that signs the checks. It's their money, so they get to do whatever they want with it. So, but no, I'm with you. I love that we locked them up for the next 6 years. Honestly, I feel like I'm the only one who's kind of complained about the perception and the timing. So apparently, people don't care.
Well, I appreciate the transparency. It's one of those things where I think if they would have waited for whatever reason, maybe for reasons people complain about it with the COVID and everything else, I get that. But I do appreciate the transparency of the athletic department, and they probably understood that they were going to get some backlash because of it. But like you said, it's a business, and it's one of those things where you're not going to make everybody happy. There's nothing you can do. You're not going to make everybody happy, and they made that decision, and we don't have a choice in the matter, and we have to roll with it.
Yep. Well, they actually said they almost had it inked in I think in February is what they said, but right at February, March is kind of when all the COVID craziness started. So it was almost ready to be done in February, and they put it on the back burner till now. Or got some things, made sure we were going to play this season. Probably, I'm sure if they weren't playing and weren't getting any TV money, things would look a lot different. So, Awesome, man! Excited to watch this ball game. Should be a. I think it's going to be a good game. So at the end of the day, I just like watching good football. I like watching Kansas State, TCU, both usually fundamentally sound, disciplined. Usually it's good football. It's not like watching two sloppy teams. Or, sometimes two really good football teams are just sloppy and hard to watch sometimes. So it should be clean. I have a ton of respect for Gary Patterson and what he's been able to do down there, especially with that defense. So enjoy the ball game. Go Cats.
All right, go Cats.
Sounds good, man. Best of luck this weekend for you and the Rock Creek team, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, see you, buddy. Have a good one.
Yep.
Powercat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.
Spring training is right around the corner, which means it's time to start prepping for the fantasy baseball season. Join us on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, 4 times per week in January as part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. Scott White, Chris Towers, and me, Frank Stanfield, will be delivering the latest news, rankings, and strategies in just 5 minutes. Make sure to download and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Odyssey app, and everywhere else podcasts are found.